Hello everyone. In this video, I would like to show you how you can create some simple scatter plots using R. In the process, we will also do some, simple cleanup. Okay, once again, if you're creating a new project in R, it makes sense to put everything in one folder. Let's call this one Scatterplot. And so in my Scatterplot folder, I also like to keep things tidy. I have one subfolder called Data, where I dump all my data, and I also have one subfolder Results, where I'm going to put every results, in this case the Scatterplot. Okay, let's review a little bit the code. Scatterplot. Alright, first off, I need to set my working directory. So since I've already created and saved the scatterplot.r, I can click on Session, Set Working Directory, Source File Location. As you can see, this drops me to the same directory as this script is in. Otherwise, you can again click Session, Set Working Directory, choose Directory, and navigate to it. Right? So my working directory is correct. The second thing that I need to do is I need to load some initial packages. So my favorite library, Easy Packages. Remember, this one keeps things tidy and makes sure that the packages don't conflict with each other. If you don't have this library, you can always install it. Install Easy Packages, or you can install it from here. This little pop-up window will pop up, and you write Easy Packages there. Okay, now the libraries I'm going to use are readexcel, clear, and ggplot2. Readexcel will help us read the Excel file into R, and ggplot plot it. Now clear can be used to, let's say, do simple manipulations in data. I'm not sure I'm using it now, but it's a very useful library to have. Also notice the syntax here. Since I'm using easy packages, I can put all the libraries in one line using the command libraries. So let's run this one. Okay. All the plots are there. I also get some warnings that these packages were created for, older version, so you might have to, update them from time to time. But it's not really important. Okay, the first thing is to read the Excel file. Once again, the Excel file is under my data, and the name is data underscore 2017. But what I want is I want the third sheet in this data set. So I'll need to use the command readexcel. Notice, all the syntax here. You start with a file name, and the file now is data2017.xlsx, but it's in the subfolder data. And to get to the subfolder, you just put ./data. This will drop you into the subfolder data inside the working directory. Also, at the end, I put sheet equals 3, and then, R will know that I need the third sheet from this data set. I name this data set df1. So let's go ahead and run this little line, and you'll see that df1 popped up here. Let's explore it a little bit. And we have dates, locations, tree numbers, length in millimeters, width in millimeters, and larval stage. Okay. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to kind of clean up the names of the columns. I don't really like to see, empty spots here or, parentheses. All these are, characters that R uses already, especially this dot here, for example, and some of them have, capitalized letters, some of them don't. So let's figure out what the names of the columns are, and you can do that by just writing call names df1. So if I run this one, we'll see down here, the names are date, location, tree number, length, width, larval stage, with, the little special characters here. So if you want to rename it, you can use again call names df1, but this time set it equal to a vector of values, basically characters that you want your names of the new columns to be. Again, try to match them up. Date, location, location, tree number, I remove the dot and I put an underscore. Length, I just keep length, I don't care if it's in millimeters. Width, I just put width, again, remove the millimeters, and change the larval stage into just stage. We know that these are different larval stages. So the moment you run this one, your data frame has now changed, and as you can see here, you have date, location, tree number, length, width, and stage. Everything looks nice and tidy. Okay, we also need to be doing this scatter plot for the various different stages of the larvae. So the column stage is actually a factor. This is the designation in R when you have specific labels that group things up. And R does make an effort to understand that a specific column is either a factor or a character, but if it doesn't, or if you just want to make sure, you can just tell R to designate to the variable stage the property of factor. So you just say as factor df1 stage. All right, so df1 stage equals as factor df1 stage. So from now on, that variable is going to be considered a factor. This way, you can see the different groups based on those factors. To do that, you invoke the command levels. All right, so levels of df1 stage. So this one will tell us that you have the 1j shapes there, the 2j larvae, L1, lowercase l2, L2, L3, and L4. Okay, so in this analysis, we actually just wanted the L levels, and as a matter of fact, we didn't even want the L1. But notice that probably this lowercase l2 is the same thing as the uppercase l2. Still, R is case sensitive, so it sees them as a different thing. What I'm going to do first then is I'm going to change all the entries L2 lowercase into L2 uppercase. This is very, very simple. You just tell R to go into the df1 stage column, and if the df1 stage is equal, this is basically how R checks whether or not it's equal. You just need to put the equal, not just equal. So if df1 stage equal underscore L2, then append it and make it capital L2. So this is going to change the entry lowercase l2 to uppercase l2. Let's run that. All right, so something happened in the background. Now what I want to do is I want to actually remove all the entries of 1j shape, 2j larvae, and L1. All right, so you can do that basically one by one by invoking this command. df2 is going to be now the new data set. That's going to be a subset of the original one, but it's not going to include every entry that's 1j shape. And you do that by going and saying, go to the column df1 stage and make sure that it is not equal. So this, exclamation mark means not whatever follows. So not equal to 1j shape. The moment that I'm going to run this, we'll see over there that a df2 popped up that has one less observation. We basically removed the line that was 1j shape, and there was only one line with that. Then you can keep on doing it and remove the 2j larvae. To do that, you just create the same data set. You can append the top of it by going to, again, the column df2 stage and making sure that it is not equal to 2j larvae. Let's run that one, and yet another observation left the stage. So the last one is to remove the capital L1. Again, we don't really need that stage, and you can again append it on the df2. No need to create new data sets for that. So we have now 140 observations that only have the appropriate levels. But if I am to run again levels df2 stage, the moment that I run this one, notice that the levels didn't change, although I did change and drop these 4. This is because when you invoke the levels command, you're actually asking R, what type of labels did you see in this column since the beginning of time? So even though these guys are not there anymore, R remembers that this df2 stage was a factor that had these levels. Okay, and it says basically that these first 4 levels have 0 entries. In order to remove those extra levels, you can just use this line, df2 stage equals factor df2 stage. So basically this tells us to recalculate the levels and recreate the factors situation. So now that I run this line, df2 stage equals factor df2 stage, if I check the levels again, I will see L2, L3, and L4. The unused levels were dropped. But back up a little bit. I did these 3 sequentially, one after the other. I could have done it with this command, which basically puts all these arguments together by using the end sign. And to check that one, let's uncomment this piece of code and run and see it. And again, you have the df2 with 140 observations and 6 variables. Any way you do it, we still want this data set. All right. Fantastic. Now let's try to plot by using our favorite ggplot. And once again, remember we are plotting the length versus the width, but now we want it for the different stages. So the x-axis is going to correspond to the length, the y-axis is going to correspond to the width, and the color is going to correspond to the stage. But we also need to tell R where to find all that, so we put here the data frame, df2. So ggplot, df2, aesthetics, x equals length, y equals width, color equals stage. Plus, since we're going to be doing a scatter plot, we need geometric point. Now, all these, commands here have lots and lots of arguments, as you can see in here. I'm using the most basic one. And again, you can play with the aesthetics. I invite you to go out there and create beautiful plots. I also want to include the regression line, but I want to include a regression line for each stage. To do that, you invoke the geom underscore smooth with the method lm, linear model. Right? And I don't really want the uh, confidence intervals around it, but we'll see what happens if we make it true. Finally, every time you create a ggplot, you need to give it a theme. The one that I like is theme classic, where everything is white and plain, but there are tons of themes here, and you can even create your own theme if you'd like. All of this creation, I'm going to name it plot 1. So let me go ahead and run plot 1. If you name it, it does not pop up here in your plots, but you could always go plot 1, and when you run this one, you will see it down there. Okay, so this is a very simple plot. As you can see, we have the 3 stages, right, with 3 regression lines, length and width. Okay, very, very straightforward. This plot 1 now, I want to save it in my results folder. In order to do that, I need to invoke ggsave. I need to tell it where to save it. Once again, I'm going to the subdirectory results. If you don't have the subdirectory, you should create it prior to that. There are commands in R that'll do that, or you can always just go ahead and create the directory. And then I'm going to name it scatter1 PDF. What am I putting in there? I'm putting plot1. So the moment that you run this line, the image is being saved. So if I go back here to my scatter plot, under results, now there's going to be a scatter1, and it is saved as a beautiful, beautiful PDF that you can put in presentations or homework or whatever. Once again, I invite you to play around with ggplot and explore all the beautiful themes. It definitely creates the best graphics I have ever seen.